how many two-digit numbers can be formed out of the digits, given digits 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, if repetition is not allowed? Anybody? Alfred.
20.
20. Can you enumerate these 20 numbers?
12, 13, 14, 15, 21, 23, 34, 35, 31, 32, 34, 35, 41, 42, 43, 45, 51, 52, 53, 54.
So there are 20 numbers. Let's try to look at the answer key. Okay, so these are the 20 numbers without repetition. 22, 11, 33, 44, and 55 are not included. Why? Okay, because there is a condition that digits should not be repeated. Okay? How about if you are not asked to list down? That is by listing. How about if you are going to give the answer immediately? By using calculator, who can give the answer using calculator? And give me the process of finding the 20 numbers by using a calculator. Anybody? Who has calculator? Anybody from the group? Christine? Can you show us the solution? Finding the 20 numbers. What Almer did was enumeration. He enumerated the 20 numbers. That is okay if the given numbers are just few numbers only. How about if you are asked to give numbers more than 1,000? Is listing applicable in this kind of problem? Can you enumerate 1,000 numbers in 1 hour?
Hindi.
So it's quite difficult. The tendency would be there would be repetitions. So what we need now is calculator. Anybody who can give the answer using calculator? Christine. How about without using calculator? Francis, can you show the solution? After this one, we will counter check using calculator. That's kind of problem. You can show on the board. Okay, can you explain, Francis?
So, since nga ang bilyaran nato is 5 ka digit, so P of NR, ang N mo to siya kung pila ka digit, tapos ang R kung pila at the same time. So, 2 digit number naman ang required. So, P of 5 tapos 2. So, P of 5 over 2 ay P of 5 into 9, 5 factorial all over N minus R factorial. Ang N minus R is 5, may 5 minus 2 factorial. 5 minus 2 is 3 factorial. So, ang 5 factorial is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 is 3 factorial. Ang 3 factorial na may makita nila ito. 3 times 2 times 1. So, answer mo sa Japon. So, ang nabilin is 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So, ang answer natin is 20 numbers.
Okay. Can we give a big hand to Francis? How about if we're going to use calculator? Any volunteer? Christine. So let's try to counter check if calculator will give us 20 also. Christine.
Kaya kita mo na si Mama.
If we use calculator, just press 5, then shift, then look for NPR, then the calculator, 5, then NPR times 2 because there's 2 digits. 8, then to get 20.
Okay, 20. So in other words, using calculator and using the formula, we can still arrive at the same answer. This is 20. So out of this, there are many instances in mathematics wherein we could obtain the answer by using calculator, or some employ what we call the shortcut method in arriving at the correct answer. So this leads us to this proposition this afternoon of our debate, which is resolve that mathematics, resolve that grade 10 students be allowed to use calculator in mathematics subject. So good afternoon everyone, especially for our adjudicators, who will be introduced later. To formally begin our debate, may I call on Ms. Zoraida Pantakan, the moderator of this afternoon's debate.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to stand as the moderator for this afternoon's debate. First of all, let us invoke the presence of God in our midst, requesting everybody to stand as we chant the Salas we lead us in prayer.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of our Almighty God, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessing that you shower upon us. As we start this activity, may your Holy Spirit will guide us, and may this activity will end up successfully. This is all we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen. Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Please take your seats. At this juncture, may I call on from the affirmative side, and please introduce yourselves one by one.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students. I am Christian Rauto Patanado Munyo from Alamada High School and from the affirmative team.
Greetings. I am Shikana G. Tetoya Palomero from the Grade 10 Mercury of Alamada High School.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Jane Lucine Anuping from Grade 10 student and from the affirmative team.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Christine Piabalya, your court speaker from Grade 10 Mercury.
Good morning, everybody. I am Angelica Hernandez from Alamada High School and from affirmative.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rami S. De Los Santos, and I am the sixth speaker of the affirmative side.
Our debaters from the negative side, please come up the stage and please introduce yourselves also.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Christian Pintos Timitilio, and I am the first speaker from the negative side.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Angela Diaz, the second speaker of the negative side.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Elmore Depar Jr. from negative side, the third speaker.
Greetings from the fourth speaker of the negative side, Althea Clarice de Valdencineres.
Good afternoon, guys.
Please take your seats. At this juncture, may I call on from the affirmative side, and please introduce yourselves one by one.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students. I am Christian Ralpho Fortunado Munio from Alamada High School and from the affirmative team.
Greetings. I am Shekinah G. Netoya Palomero from the Grade 10 Mercury of Alamada High School.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mary Jane Lucine Anupli from grade 10 student and from the affirmative team. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Christine P. Abalya, your fourth speaker from grade 10 Mercury.
Good morning, everybody. I am Angelica Matis Rava from Alamada High School and from affirmative.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Ronnie S. De Los Santos, and I am the sixth speaker of the affirmative side.
Our debaters from the negative side, please come up the stage and please introduce yourselves also.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am Christian Pintos Timitilio, and I am the first speaker from the negative side.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Angela Diaz, the second speaker of the negative side.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Elmore Depar Jr. from negative side, the third speaker.
Greetings from the fourth speaker of the negative side, Althea Clarice de Valdencineres.
Good afternoon, guys. I am Kim Nicole Patulian, fifth speaker of negative side.
A pleasant day to everyone. I am Tina Joyce Maritza Jr., a grade 10 Mercury student, and I am the sixth and final speaker for the negative side.
Thank you so much, debaters. I would like also to introduce to you our educators for this debate. One of them is the English chairperson of Alamada High School, a master teacher one. She's none other than Ma'am Alma B. Valiente. Our second judge, And the chairman of the Board of Judges is a math major, a master teacher 1, and the math chairperson of Alameda High School. A round of applause for Ma'am Violeta F. Tabarna. For the mechanics of this debate, may I call on our mathematics teacher, Sir Richard S. Señadoza.
Thank you so much, Zoraida. So once again, good afternoon. This debate is composed of two teams, the affirmative side and the negative side. You may take your seat. Each team is composed of 6 speakers. The first 5 speakers from each side is given a maximum of 2 minutes each to deliver his or her constructive speech, except for a rebuttal speaker who is given a maximum of 4 minutes. After each speaker has delivered his or her constructive speech, interpolation will follow. First speaker from the negative side versus the first speaker from the affirmative side. The sequence of speeches and interpolation continues until the 5th speakers of both teams. Rebuttal speech of the 6th speaker from the negative side will follow, and the rebuttal speech of the 6th speaker from the affirmative side will conclude the debate. The following are the criteria for judging. For the best team, we have the rubric. Each team will be judged according to the organization and clarity, use of arguments, use of examples and facts, use of rebuttal, and the presentation style. And for the best speaker, each speaker from both teams will be judged according to evidences gathered. They will cite references from internet, books, magazines, and etc. This will comprise 20% of the overall rating. Delivery, 30%. This includes the voice, gestures, audience contact, and voice projection. And the third component is the interpolation. That is 20% of the overall total. This includes the art of questioning during interpolation, with integration, of course, of the higher order thinking skills or hacks in asking questions. And the last component is the rebuttal, which comprises 30% of their rating. This includes their skill in answering questions during the interpolation or skill in contradicting the speech of their opponent. May I remind the rest of the grade 10 Mercury students that after this debate, you are going to make a reflection regarding the learnings and insights you will get for this afternoon's debate. You are going to write that in a one whole sheet of paper, and you are going to submit that tomorrow. Is that okay for you?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So are you excited now for the debate?
Yes,
So I will now turn over the floor to our moderator, Ms. Zoraida Pantakan.
Thank you, sir. I would like to remind the audience to maintain silence when the speakers are delivering their speeches, so our judge could clearly hear their arguments. For the speakers, please take note of the allotted time given to you in delivering your speech. Once you hear this sound,
so I will just signal that your time has ended. I'll just look at it.
it is an indication that your speaking time is over. During the cross-examination, the speaker is given a maximum of 20 seconds to answer the question. After 20 seconds, you can hear also the same sound to signal the end of your speaking time. Debaters, are you ready? So let's begin the argumentation. First speaker from the negative side, take it away. Affirmative, rather.
calculator is a high technological device used to do basic mathematical calculation. In the early stages and until now, we perform the basic operations. We have to accept that the world has been changed by technology, for this is our own sake. Wilhelm Schickard invented the first calculating clock and developed by Blaise Pascal for us to make easier to do math problems. It is not bad to use calculator in class unless we abuse the use of calculators. Sinasabi ko lang po ay hindi naman sa lahat ng oras ay gagamitin natin ito. Ginawa po ito o inimbento dahil upang matulungan tayo sa ating mga pagsolba o sa lahat ng math problems. Being able to work without a calculator will give you a deeper understanding of maths and arithmetic and the methods either using your brain or on a paper to reach the correct answer. The calculator won't show to us how to work the calculation, but will give an answer at the touch of a button. I temporarily close my turn.
Let's have the first speaker from the negative side for the interpellation.
For the first speaker, my question is, do you think that using calculator may improve our critical thinking skills?
First speaker from the affirmative side, you have a maximum of 20 seconds to answer the question.
Yes, of course. Ginawa po kasi ito dahil upang matulungan nga tayo inimbento. Para yun lang po, makatulong po sa atin na mapadali ang ating pag-aaral. Salamat po.
Constructive speech of the first speaker from the negative side.
The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. Because we don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And I strongly disagree to allow calculators in our classroom. So let's face it, using calculator, whether scientific or not, had been our major source of information during our activities in math. Because of its fast and accurate answers to our questions, more and more students are mostly relying to this device. But even if you got the correct answers, sometimes you still can't even solve it with right formulas or with using only a paper and a pen. Strange, right? Well, let us, the opposition side, explain it to you. The more the students which are only depending to this kind of doing, the more they are not capable of solving even of those simplest problems. What if during your class you didn't bring your calculator or your phone while having a test? What will you do? Just sit there and watch them answering because you are in lack of knowledge about solving it without your calculator? What then? Not all the time, you just have to depend on it. I know that one of the problems of students in 4 fundamental operation is the multiplication, wherein they would likely use their calculators rather than solving it on their paper. People were blinded by the use of calculator, such as multiplying or dividing any number by 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, and so on. For example, you have to divide any number with 10, like 198 divided by 10. If you would only like to get the answer fastly, you will only look for the answer by using your calculator without any effort. But if you're already used on solving in math, you can easily get the answer by moving the decimal point to the left, like 198 divided by 10. So our answer is 19.8 by just moving the decimal ones directly proportional to the number of zeros, like, such as 10 has 1, 100 has 2, and so on. Now let's proceed to multiplication. If you have to multiply any number with 100, you will only add 2 zeros. Example, 100 times 46, which is the answer is 4,600. By only adding the 2 zeros, you can get the answer. These examples only prove that problems in math may come hard at first, but in the end, there are many ways to solve it with ease. Using calculator is simply as allowing your brain to become lazy, which is unhealthy. As the saying goes, whoever is equally industrious will succeed very well. Many honor students before haven't passed their board exams because they are lazy enough to learn many things, which strongly supports our side that using calculator must not be allowed. And if you are nothing without your calculator, then you shouldn't have it. Thank you and good afternoon.
Let's have the interpellation of the first speaker from the affirmative side.
I have nothing to ask because we believe that our statement is true.
Second speaker from the affirmative side, check 3.
Greetings in the name of academic excellence. Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers and students, good afternoon. The topic for our debate is that, should we allow the grade 10 students to use calculators during math class? We, the affirmative team, strongly believe that this statement is oh so true. Our first speaker has already explained what a calculator really is, how does it work, and what are its uses. This afternoon, I will be talking about 2 points. My first point is that the calculator is very advantageous. The advantage of calculator is more than its disadvantage, mainly because calculators reduce the complexity of solving computations. According to mathisinteresting.com, calculators, they may seem detrimental to math studies, can be beneficial when the intent of usage is proper. It saves valuable time and for productive learning, especially at a higher level where the basics has been mastered. And more emphasis is placed on the concept of understanding. Knowing what is the focus saves you time and effort. Create time and do not waste it doing the improper thing. Now to my second point. The myths about calculators. The false information, or as we call it, fake news. Did you know that according to Kibben.com, tests have proven calculators are useful for means of learning, but because of false information, some educators still believe that they are harmful. One myth is that calculators are used because the students are too lazy to do the computation, while the calculators do all the work. This is absolutely not true. The real understanding is to comprehend what the question is asking, knowing how to set the problem and deciding if the answer makes sense. Calculators only help the student in calculation and give more time to understand instead of doing tedious work that is sometimes involved in problems. The second myth is that people will become so dependent on calculators that when without one, they would be helpless. It is very important that mental and paper and pencil calculations be taught. The truth is that calculators are more accurate and efficient than humans, and that they are inexpensive and portable enough. By that, I believe that calculators should be allowed during mathematics class. I temporarily close my turn.
Do you have any questions, second speaker, from the negative side? You may proceed with your question.
Didn't you say that calculators are advantageous if you use them properly? What if he or she use their calculators not properly? Would it still be advantageous?
Second speaker from the affirmative side, you have a maximum of 20 seconds to answer the question.
As I've said earlier, using the calculators properly. When you use the calculator improperly, that is not advantageous. Properly, I am stating properly, not improperly. Thank you.
Now, for the arguments of the second speaker from the negative side.
The technology is booming, and modern innovations and technology has changed our lives. By the way, good afternoon, everyone. There are some old objects that we still use in our daily life. The calculator is one of the devices which still carries importance. This handheld device is used of many students from a very young age. But the real picture is very different from what the affirmative team has said. The advantages aren't attractive, and sometimes tough situations can lower the mental confidence of the students. And according to answers.com, there are major disadvantages in using calculators. They discourage mental math. They can store formulas in their memory, allowing students to cheat on tests and quizzes. And they are also expensive and unaffordable for some students. There are many scenarios where students make mistakes in using calculators, such as pressing wrong buttons, forgetting to change modes, incorrect rounding of decimal values, and wrong methods of evaluating the problem. If the student is advanced and can perform mathematical operations, it proves them the advantage of solving the answer quickly and in efficient manner. However, the use of the device would only reduce the mental strength of solving the problem on their own. Similarly, for not so advanced students, it would serve as a disadvantage in which they can perform any mathematical operations because they always rely on calculators. As per the research and surveys carried out by major institutes and organizations, it's a proven fact that students using calculators from a young age has reduced mental computational skills. Once again, I'm the second speaker of the negative team, and we firmly believe that calculators should not be used in schools as provide more than cons than pros. Thank you for listening. Again, good afternoon.
Second speaker from the affirmative side, you are recognized.
You have said earlier that children are using the calculators from a very young age. Then how can you say that calculators are discouraging mental math when the students are only using those devices to save valuable time in order to understand what is asked in such problems?
Second speaker from the negative side, you have 20 seconds to answer the question.
Thank you for that question. I can say that they discourage mental math because they would rely on calculators, even in simpler operations. They would use that to answer, and sometimes, if you know the answer in mental, you can write your answer so easy. And if you use calculator, you can kung magamit ka pa calculator, baka ano pa siya, same time mo, makakaon pa same time. Kung balaan mo na siya makasolve ka mental, so ang answer mo, masulat mo na dayon.
Let's listen to the constructive speech of the third speaker from the affirmative side.
Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and to my fellow students, good afternoon once again. The topic of our debate is that grade 10 students be allowed to use calculator in mathematics subject. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. Our second speaker has already explained. And in my case, the positive contribution of calculators in the classrooms are fairly obvious. They make difficult computations much easier. For example, if I'm trying to find the area of a triangle with a base of 413 centimeter and a height of 48.9 centimeter, trying to compute 413 times 48.9 divided by 2 by hand or by solving on paper would take a good bit of time and ultimately shift the focus away from the actual key concept at hand, finding the area. It means to say, by the use of calculators, the students can solve problems at more reasonable time frame. By the use of calculator, it makes students more confident in their abilities because it can prevent silly mistakes in computation. Math is tedious and might not be everyone's favorite subject. Calculator help make math more enjoyable. Calculators are the #1 ally for students. For example, if students complete a set of problems and then want to check and see if they've gotten them right, calculators can come in handy. This handheld device allows students to solve complicated problems quickly and in an efficient manner. Additionally, it can reduce the problem to simpler tasks and allows the student to devote more time in understanding the problem. Secondly, they are safe from boring calculations and the same boring procedure. Calculators are extremely valuable for validating work. So, Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students, in conclusion, students must learn that they are not just the greatest tools for fast answers, but also helpful tools that can help them a lot. I temporarily closed my case.
Question of the third speaker from the negative side.
Well, Ms. Anuping, from your statement for what is important, your answers or your learnings by your
Of course, yung answer ko. Kasi yung answer ko, mas makakapagbigay. Hindi ko naman sinabi na, wait. Kung wala ang calculators, maybe wala ring learnings. And paano ba ginawa yung calculator kung hindi naman natin gagamitin sa school? Thank you.
Constructive speech of the third speaker, the negative side.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nowadays, students use many types of calculators, and they find it very much helpful in terms of speed and accuracy of their answers. In fact, students who use a scientific calculator believe that their calculators have the simplest way of solving number problems. But are we capable of giving speed and accuracy in our actual solvings too? Can we arrive at our correct answers in the simplest way without using calculator? According to my research at calculators' pros and cons webpage, the main reason why calculators have disadvantages because they let students become complacent. Like what Mr. Diaz has said earlier, it discourages mental math of our learners. Another reason is calculators are simply means of cheating, can store formulas in their memory, allowing students to cheat on tests. Lastly, most high-quality scientific calculators are expensive and unaffordable for some students. So, are you ready to take up the challenge? Our answer is a tentative no, unless you study your lessons in advance and gather some books and references that could give us a complete idea about the certain topics to be lectured. Then, it's better to have no calculator because at this age, we still need to know how to do math longhand, not shorthand. The book once said, mathematics and mathematical thinking is very much a part of life. The way you put your very own knowledge and skills to use will spell the difference in your growth toward a better life. So again, I'm the third speaker of the evening.
Third speaker from the affirmative side for the interpellation.
If you're not using the calculator, to check your answer, your research is even accurate or believable.
Third speaker from the negative side, you have a maximum of 20 seconds to answer the question.
Yes, because if I lose trust to myself, I cannot give the correct answer. So therefore I can give my answer without using calculator or testing the calculator because some scientists before they first put their some methods in the books. So therefore, I believe the books can give me the accurate answer. Again, I will not allow students to use calculator. Thank you.
Constructive speech of the fourth speaker from the affirmative side.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students. The topic for our debate is that can we allow students to use calculator in class? We believe the affirmative team that this statement is true. Our third speaker has already explained that the positive contribution of calculators in the classroom are fairly obvious. Today, I will be talking to you about 2 points. My first point is that calculator is time consuming. This is because calculator saves time in computation. Instead of hand computation, there is a simpler and faster tool that can solve our problem, and that is the calculator. Can you remember Avogadro's constant to 6 decimal places? Can you figure out the square root of 747 in less than a second? Can you add up hundreds of numbers, one after another, without making a mistake? Pocket calculator can do all of this. I conduct a survey in our classroom, and it seems 44 out of 50 agree that calculator must be allowed in math discussion. According to a famous bit of 1950s research, technically 5 to 9 digits, whereas Miller put it the magical number 7 plus or minus 2, before our brains start to ache and forget. That's why people have been using 8 to help them calculate since ancient times. So now, we have all known that calculator is used since ancient time, and I think there is no issue of using it. Remember, calculator doesn't make students to be lazy and nonsense, because calculator is only a tool that helps us in our problem. So, Mr. Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers, and students, in conclusion, we, the affirmative team, believe that using calculator in class is allowed.
Question of the fourth speaker from the negative side.
Just because it's easier to use calculator doesn't mean it is more efficient to do so. So tell me,
knowing that calculator can only give you the accurate answer, how efficient would it be to learn basic underlying mathematical concepts, which is useful in our basic lives, with a calculator?
Fourth speaker from the affirmative side, you have 20 seconds to answer the question.
I have nothing to say because we believe the affirmative team that our answer is right.
So start the speech of the fourth speaker from the negative side.
Greetings from the fourth speaker of the negative side. I strongly disagree from the statements of our affirmative side because I believe the cornerstones of a solid math education is learning number sense and numerical fluency through basic math facts. Math is, I admit, hard enough. Not learning basic math facts would make it even harder. Calculators are often used by the students too much and too soon. Nowadays, it is evident enough to say, as a grade 10 student, that many students lack the numerical fluency necessary to develop mastery in mathematics. And I believe this is accountable to the reliance on calculators. I think many of you here is not aware that a calculator can only be right if, and only if, the input is right. Thus, if you get a syntax error, then there's a probability that you don't know what went wrong. A probability. So, how can you have the permit to use calculators if you don't master the basic math facts? Linda Starr from educationworld.com made a list of some of the concerns and critics of calculators, stating that calculators encourage students to randomly try a variety of mathematical computations without any real understanding of which is the appropriate or why. Second, they prevent students from discovering and understanding underlying mathematical concepts. Next, it keeps students from benefiting from one of the most important reasons for learning math, to train and discipline the mind and to promote logical reasoning. Lastly, it gives students, it hurts me to say, a false sense of confidence about their math ability. Therefore, what is the point of teaching someone how to do math by using calculator if they forget how to do it later on hand? It's like the story where the guy catches fish for the man, but the man still doesn't learn how to catch fish. Call me old school, but I think the only way to learn math is to do math. And in this moment, I seize my case.
Yes, for the speaker from the affirmative side.
You are even using calculators correctly? Yes or no? Then why? Then it can make you crazy. Lazy.
Please clarify.
Are you using calculator correctly? Yes or no? Then it can make you lazy.
Okay, thank you. At the first place, since I was a child, I learned math without the calculator. So when I used the math calculator, yes, I believe I used it appropriately and correctly. And no, it didn't make me lazy or crazy because I know already the underlying math concepts.
Let's listen to the constructive speech of the fifth speaker from the affirmative side.
To our Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, teachers,
And to my fellow students, good afternoon. Nowadays, we live in a techno life. There are gadgets or new technology, new inventions, new devices, but there were gadgets or devices that we already using since then. And that was calculator. There were advantages and disadvantages of calculator. But advantages rises more than disadvantages. According to the hub page con, these are the examples of the advantages. To prevent boredom. Boredom. If the teacher will just and will make you solve a long process of method, my God, you will be bored solving that long method. And calculator will make the student be confident to their answers. They won't overthink if their answer will right or wrong. They won't stress themselves thinking about that. And teachers discovered that most of the students can get even the 20th calculating table. So now, I believe that if the students have a calculator, only one half of the problem will they gonna problem. And not all the students, admit it, not all the students can calculate an anonymous number by just a blink. Admit it, students, not all of you. So, and my God, don't be literal. Not because we have calculated, we will solve there, even 1 plus 1, 1 times 1, or the square of 1. My God, may mga bagay na ginagawa upang gamitin. May mga bagay kasi na binibigyang halaga. And so now I believe that students must be allowed to use calculator in this mathematical subject or in their mathematics subject. Thank you.
Go ahead, speaker from the negative side.
Why can you say that calculator user solve faster than the non-calculator user?
Why? Why students with calculator can solve faster than non-calculator user? It is because they will solve the problem or the sequence one by one. The calculator will solve that for them. Not like the calculator students. They will solve the problem one by one, even the smallest one. And that's all. Thank you.
Constructive speech of the fifth speaker from the negative side.
Calculator take away the necessity for a student to know the basics. Even for young students just learning their facts. It serves no purpose to use calculator to compute 6 times 4. Furthermore, a student who relies on the calculator for simple equation will not remember the solution for after he or she writes it down on the homework page. Relying on a calculator results in a child being unable to progress in mathematics due to lack of fluency of facts. A child who is able to compute 6 times 4 without a calculator knows how much more about the concept of multiplication than a calculator user. These are the disadvantages of using calculator. According to the homepage.com, students will become so dependent on using calculator for counting and will become lazy because they already have a calculator for solving and will become unable to memorize the process of problem solving. Relying too much on calculator for counting can embarrass the user, as calculator limit the knowledge of their user, and students will not know how to get the result of their equation. Lastly, if the use of this handheld device is not regulated or even prohibited, we might lack of quality of scientists and mathematicians with great computational skills in the near future. I temporarily close my case. Thank you.
Yes, the speaker from the affirmative side.
Do you have any question? Please proceed to your question.
For the fifth speaker of the negative side, how can you say so that the students that have calculator will become lazy? And as your team said that my speech is an example of a hasty generalization rather, then why can I see you guys bored and sleepy during math class? And
You have 20 seconds to answer the question.
Because they will be use of calculator to answer even the most simple equation. Even if it can be solved by simple mental math. Thank you.
We hear the arguments of the first 5 speakers from both teams as well as their responses to every question raised by their counterpart. And now, for the final round, let's hear the rebuttal speeches from the rebuttal speakers of both teams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to our respected adjudicators, our math teacher, and fellow students. Again, good afternoon. I will repeat a very powerful statement. Our first speaker said that if you are nothing with your calculator, you should not have it. As the final speaker for the negative side, I therefore refute strongly the cause of the affirmative side. Calculators should not be allowed in schools because let's get down to business. Speaker number 1 had his opening speech, but he seemed to waver in his argument. He mentioned one disadvantage and one disadvantage. Where is his strength of his opinion? Second, speaker number 2 said that if the intent of usage is proper, and which the calculators should be used when higher order thinking is only developed. And again, she also mentioned a myth. The myth is that the students will be too lazy when they use the calculator. First of all, Ms. Speaker, that is not a myth, but rather that is an effect. When students use calculators to solve even only the simple solutions, that cultivates laziness. Number 2 myth that you mentioned, it is also a true-to-life effect. Because you said calculators are more accurate than students. But a statement from me. If you use calculators, you are looking for perfection, not progress. You don't learn when the calculators just give you answers when you punch in the values. They only give you answers, not solutions. And then, the third speaker said, the use of calculators is less time consuming, like for example, when solving complicated numbers just like 42.921345678 divided by 2.19192. It is easier to use a calculator. But have you seen the angle that this actually discourages the students from coming up with their own formulas, shortcuts, and tricks to solve 42.199 whatever number? Yes, when you don't use calculators, you develop higher order thinking in order to have the tricks required to solve the problem. Speaker number 4 also mentioned Avogadro's constant with decimal places up to 6. But have you also forgotten the value of pi? With decimal places that are infinite, but it was only approximated down to 2 decimal places? Well, it was only approximated to 3.14, but we can still also have accurate answers manually. Speaker 5 mentioned confidence in right answers with the calculator. But have it not occurred to you that this confidence is only false? If you want to check your answers, why not compare processes with your seatmate, teacher, or try checking the answers yourself? She also mentioned the fact that many students become bored in math class. Again, scientifically, because science and math cannot be separated. Being sleepy is a reflex and not a choice. So to summarize our point, calculators can, number one, be a source of distraction. Some students use the scientific calculators to write messages like hello, bye, or something like that. In order to show it for fun, and this will cause distractions in our class. Number two, I heard from our speaker, it is an improper usage, and yes, it's a side effect. Number two, the calculators are costly. Scientific calculators and even higher order thinking calculators are very costly. A reason why some cannot afford. Number three, it can promote laziness. I believe that I've elaborated more on that topic already. Number four, they encourage cheating. Yes, I've seen scientific calculators with covers at the back. Those covers often have conversions, formulas in them. And that will cause cheating in the tests. Because instead of the student trying to memorize the conversion units, they will only rely on the cover of their calculator because the conversions are already there. Furthermore, the covers can be used to pass notes or hide their cell phones during class. Number 6. Students cannot be able to use math skills properly. I believe I've also elaborated on that topic. Because calculators I give you answers instead of solutions. Number 7, we are all in danger of improper use or wrong methods as mentioned above when we all use the calculators. So to eradicate that danger, we must not use calculators. Simple. And for our last argument, calculators discourage mental math. According to a recent survey, 86% of students will be able to provide the answers to a mathematical equation when using a calculator. But if the calculator is taken out of their hands, they will have difficulty or may not be able to answer the problem. This is a problem that almost all of us face. We rely too much on our calculator and may not rely on ourselves. We have to study. And we have to regulate these calculators, if not eradicate it completely. To conclude our point, we must not use calculators in math class, but instead use our own calculators, mental math, in order to solve the problem. Remember, calculators, not calculators. Thank you so very much.
So, good afternoon, Madam Chairman, distinguished guests, and students. So before I will start my speech, I would like to ask you a question. So, did you even not use calculator in your whole life? I know that you use calculator for checking, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, most of you said that calculator can make a student lazy. Then why is your fourth speaker said that calculators can't do so? No? So, calculators are valuable and educational tools that allow students to reach a high level of mathematics, power, and understanding, and access to mathematical concepts and experiences which they were previously limited with only paper and pencil. So, as what my speaker said, based on the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, or NCTM, recommended standards stating that calculator use at school would help students watch math everyday situations, developing reasoning, and promote understanding. Researchers Henry and Desart conducted a meta-analysis of 79 calculators studies. They concluded that calculator use combined with traditional instruction apparently does not harm a student's retention of paper and pencil skills, but actually improve those skills. According to the NRC, students who use calculators seem better able to focus on the correct analysis of the problem. So, what is the purpose? Why we should allow calculator in our classrooms? Number one, to explore and experiment with mathematical ideas such as patterns, numerical and algebraic properties and functions. Number two, develop and reinforce skills such as estimation, computation, graphing, analyzing data. Number three, focus on developing problem-solving processes rather than the computations associated with the problems. Number four, perform tedious computation that often develop when working with real data and problem situation. And lastly, gain access to mathematical ideas and experiences that go beyond those levels limited by traditional paper and pencil computation. Calculators proponents feel that calculators promote more positive attitude. Research and experience have clearly demonstrated the potential of calculators to enhance students' learning and in mathematics. The cognitive gain in number sense, conceptual development, and visualization can empower and motivate students to engage in true mathematical problem solving at a level. Previously, it is denied, but to think that calculator is the most essential tool in mathematics. So, calculators allow students to become more active rather than sitting there and passively accepting the examples given by the teachers. Students who use calculator are encouraged to develop their own examples and formulate their own hypotheses. Students who were once thought to be poor mathematicians because they were turned off or disabled by tedious time-consuming computation may now have the opportunity to prove themselves. So to end this argument, we, affirmative side, believe that calculators should be used in mathematics subject because it keeps interest in math high and encourage exploration and creativity which promote better understanding of mathematical concepts. We push towards a future of new and better opportunity for students learning. Thank you.
Thank you, debaters. This is Zoraida M. Bantakan, your moderator for this afternoon's debate, saying thank you so much, and I'm turning you over to our mathematics teacher, Sir Richard S. Señadoza.
Thank you so much, Zoraida, our moderator. Let's give a round of applause to our debaters side, and of course, our debaters from the negative side. While our debaters are still calculating the result, I would like to ask our audience the same question. Do you favor the proposition that grade 10 students like you be allowed to use calculators in our subject? Yes. If yes, why? Anybody? Okay.
The use of calculator.
Please use the microphone.
As a listener, I'm strongly agree of using calculator. There is no doubt that we live in a society that's always changing things to the best ever advanced technology. So learning how to use such technology is must, and this is the main reason why students need to understand how to use a calculator. The concept of technology development set the rules, so owning a calculator is a must. Since the simple instrument will help students throughout their lives. Just think about how much calculators will help students
to get the budget, do their taxes, and complete their important things throughout their life. Calculator is a big help when doing mathematical equations correctly. They're also a useful tool in learning different ways to do in mathematics. The use of them plays a big part in excelling in math. With extensive availability, a full range of sizes and styles, and a price range for just about any budget, there really shouldn't be any excuse for not owning one. There also shouldn't be any restriction, as far as I'm concerned, for the use of calculators in classrooms. I agree with this rule only when the level of math is above learning the four basic operations. It's not about the tedious math involved that's important. It's about the learning. It's about the learning the fundamental and concepts of how the problem is solved. The advantage. So students must learn that they are not just grades tool for a fast answer, but also help tools that can help them a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheila. So, she favors the use of calculator in our subject mathematics paper. How about those who do not favor the use of calculator in our classroom? Anybody? Okay. Mark?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Lubling Lucina. For me, I strongly disagree of using calculator because the advantages of the calculator aren't attractive. It can lower the mental confidence of the students and they discourage mental math. This device would only reduce the mental strength of solving the problem by their own. That could be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for your insights and learnings. While hearing your argumentations, I was greatly impressed by your wittiness. While the rebuttal speakers from the affirmative side was delivering his speech, it seems that the rebuttal speaker from the negative side would like to interrupt. Did you notice that before? Okay, but since we have a rule to follow, so her term has already ended. But in general, I greatly appreciate your talent, especially in public speaking. This is my first time to witness you speaking in front of your classmates, and I was impressed. No? This is my first time to see, especially si Laika, no? Very forceful, si Remy, si Joy, si Althea. Actually, all of them are very good speakers. So this is just the first time that we introduced this kind of debate in our class, but you did all well. Congratulations, debaters, from both the affirmative and the negative side. So if ever we'll have this kind of debate again, for sure, you would be interested to witness. Okay? So at this moment, before we'll declare the best debater and the best team for this afternoon's debate, let us hear first some suggestions, comments, and recommendations from our adjudicators. We are so happy because they spend their time and talent for this afternoon's debate. Ma'am Tabarno and Ma'am Valientes, our master teachers.
Good afternoon. First of all, congratulations to the affirmative side and the negative side. No? You have done your best. You have all given your reasons. No? Valid reasons. But there are times when you give your own insights, examples. Sometimes you contradict. Like in the fourth speaker, it is contradicting. Christine, no? You said a while ago that it is not easier, ba yun? You mentioned it is easier and then binawi mo kagad, no? That means, easier ba yung topic ay sinabi mo kanina? Oo, no? Pero dapat, supposed to be or not to give that statement because it contradicts to your side, no? Previous, you have spoken, you have given a statement previous to what you have binawi mo, no? Okay, binawi mo after. So you presented two contradicting ideas, supposed to be not, no? You are to support your own side. And secondly, no, doon sa negative side, you have to wait. Very aggressive kayo, no? You have to wait kasi makita yung reaction niyo niya. You wanted to answer, no? Okay. But, no, you have to give us in the time of interpolation or rebuttal. You have to wait for your turn. Anyway, you'll be given how many seconds to answer, no? Okay. If you want to answer the question, give your full complete. Your answer must be complete. Your answer must be tasok ganyan na must be not exactly concise, no? Yung tasok ka sa English. Nalipat na ko, no? Okay. But what I wanted to give you, you have done your best, no? I'm really surprised. Okay. No? Na-surprise talaga ako na ganyan pala kayo katalente. No? Starting today, pag tayo nyo dyan sa entablado, I really believe in you. No? You have the talent, you have the guts. Okay. Napaniwala ninyo ako ngayong hapon na ito. No? Okay, congratulations. And lastly, do more research work. No? Kasi yung answer natin dapat mas maunod pa, no? Okay. May maunod sa English ng still more meaning and more content, no? Mas dasok pa na siya ang content, the knowledge you have given, your experiences, no? Dapat ang content niya dasok pa, ha? Okay, do more research work. Okay, congratulations, no? Napalit ko na lindan, no? Pwede dahil magtinagalog. Okay, yung pang-comment ko, dapat if you are going to answer, if you are going to make your sightings, you have to speak. Nakastart ka na in English kasi debate ito eh. You have to speak. Pero debate man eh. So dapat mag-English kayo. Diba? Nasagulan yung Filipino. But never mind, no? Never mind, you have really try your best, no? Okay, so once and for all, thank you and congratulations. I really believe in you.
Good afternoon, debaters. I am really greatly amazed by your ability to speak. Anyway, I know that Kitina and Althea are good speakers, but I was surprised, and also De Los Santos. I did not expect that you can speak like that. And I thought I was looking at the debate sa ANC. No? Yung debate ng mga college students. So, my comment only is that, yun na, nagtanong ko ng tawan, pwede ba po mag-shift sa dialect or ano. But we were not able to ask Mr. Señadoza about it. So, never mind. What is important is you are very good in expressing your ideas. And I did not expect that students from the school can speak like that. There are some of you who are really good speakers. So you are, pati enunciation and pronunciation are very good. But there are some you need more improvement in speaking. I can like si Kaina, very good. As may British accent ni si Joyce. Si Joyce, yes, ang accent mo dahil British. Oo, si Althea, very good. Si Kaina, si Angelica, ano ba yung Remy, Baloni, Nagbisaya lang ka doon, pero I know that you are full of ideas. I really am. When you saw that first, when you presented, I really admire you because I have seen that only in movie. Yung movie na Gifted, panoorin niyo yan. Children, I'm very proud of you. Sana nag-join kayo sa debate. May debate yung God. Meron, next time you join. So I'm very proud of you and I'm very lucky to be one of the adjudicators. Sabi ko, why kayo Sir Richard? Hindi pa sana ako kasi I have not experience. Pero sige lang. Anyway, wow, we have seen you with abilities like that, no? Enunciation, pronunciation, and very, forceful. Thank you very much. Keep on, according to mga tabano, mag-research pa kayo. Kaya medyo may iba, daw alanganin mag-stay. Ito is very serbakan. No, may iba nga. We are really correct. Sige lang. Pero walang may state na, dapat may evidence yun.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Mabalientes and Ma'am Violeta Tabarno. Again, congratulations, debaters. You did well this afternoon and you deserve an additional point in my subject. And congratulations also to our audience for your participation. Do not worry, you deserve also an additional point for Thank you so much for your cooperation. Again, I would like to express my congratulations to Balong, Chikaina, Mary Jane, Christine, Laika, Remy, Francis, Angelo, Elmore, Althea, Kim, and Joyce. And of course, our moderator, Zoraida. Thank you so much for your great performance this afternoon. And now for the declaration of winners for the best team and the best speaker. May I turn you over to our chairman of the Board of Judges. They're still computing for the total. Kasi sinabi kanina ng affirmative side. Panalo na kami kasi gumamit sila ng calculator. Kaya set aside nila yung calculator. Alam nyo, magagaling yan yung dalawa mag-compute kahit walang calculator. Thank you so much also to Mark, Kimuel, and Sheila for your answers, for your participation. Thank you so much.
Okay, congratulations again. Huh? You did your best. And also we did our best. Huh? We judge. Okay, for our best team, since the two teams give their best, they presented the best. The best team now goes to the negative side. Okay. But the best speaker is from the affirmative. We have Remy, the sixth speaker, Remy Delisano.